She was in independent living. It's amazing for her, but basically, she was
Everybody has a favorite side to see what you Oh, you're very welcome. All these pets.
Hi. We have met, I'm sorry. So nice to see you. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Yeah, I know. It's good. Hi, Lindsay. Military? You're right? Should I start? I don't have my clock. Yeah.
Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish taught, the day of Shabbat came before the Holy One and said, Creator of the world, every day has a partner. Sunday has Monday and so on, but I have no partner. The Holy One replied, Israel shall be your partner. And when Israel stood at Sinai, God said to them, remember my promise to Shabbat, that Israel will be your partner. And thus it is written, remember the day of Shabbat to keep it holy. We gather this evening and we welcome Shabbat and we aspire to keep it holy, to keep her holy. Our service begins on page 121 with candle lighting, for which we invite the Frischmans to join us. Page 121.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, tzivanu lahag l'pnei shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlikner shel Shabbat.
Page 123, we invite you please to rise for Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri vadafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'b'ratzon inhilonu, zikaru lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom tekilah lemikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tzion Mitzrayim, ki banu v'charta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava u'b'ratzon inhaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen.
And please be seated. Let's continue praying responsibly. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. We continue on page 136 with the singing of Psalm 29.
Yai
We are meant in prayer to be active participants, so we read the words, we sing the words of Lecha Dodi, where the bride is met in the field, where the two commune, where we are active partners in the going out and the coming toward. And we continue with the singing of Lecha Dodi as we greet the Sabbath bride on page 138. And please be seated. Page 145 as we continue. Entrances to holiness are everywhere, and the possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence.
Yitkadal v'yitkada shemei rabba. Be'amadi v'rahirote v'yamrit mahotei. B'chai בזמן קריב וימרו אמן. יהי שמרם המבורך לעולם עולם מעלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונעמתה תמירה בעלמה וימרו אמן.
Page 146, we rise for our call to worship. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'divaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, u'v'tvuna mishane itim, machalif et hazmanim, u'misader et hakochavim b'mishmoroteim, barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla golil or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, u'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, Umavdil ben yom ben laila, Adonai Tzevaot Shemo. El Chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated.
V'yavtach et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו תותפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
Justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and peace. Continue with Hashkivena.
Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat la'adorotam berit olam beini u'bein Yisrael beini We bring our joy, we bring our full selves, we bring our thanks, we bring this past week and all that we have as we rise for the tefillah on page 164. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'koneh HaKol V'zocher Hasei Avot v'imahot U'meid Yehuda Livnei b'neihem L'man Shemo be'ahava Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai Mechayeh Yaakov Atah Rav le'Moshiach Mashiach haruach u'morid haGashem Mechalkel chaim b'chesed Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim Somech noflim verofech olim Umatir asurim Umekayem emunato Lishenei afar Mi chamocha bal geburot Umido melach Melech lemit umechayeh Umatzliach Yeshua Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, kedoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch Ata Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. Top of page 173 as we continue together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch Ata Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, Be'amcha Yisrael, Utfilatam Be'ahava Tekabel, Utehila Ratzon Tamid Avodat Yisrael Amecha. Baruch Ata Adonai, Sha'odcha Levadcha B'yira Na'avod. Baruch Ata Adonai, Hatov Shimcha, U'lecha Na'el Hodot.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Tasim Leho
pray, we meditate, we take some moments in silence. Let's take a moment and turn our prayers, turn our hearts, turn our thoughts to those who are struggling, those for whom their bodies are troubling, their spirits are troubling to them right now, and let's hold them in prayer as we say, Mishaberach Avotenu v'Imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, Hu Yivarech et Cholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal and give strength to those who are struggling. This evening we are thinking of Shana Esther Bat Ruchel, Steve Brent, Barb DeCario, James Boyle, Bacha Leah Bat Etel, Beth Shackman, Thomas DiMatteo, Ira Coleman, Yeshaya Edel Ben Gittel, Bonnie Hughes, Mark Friedman, Elizabeth Friedman, Giorgio Krent, Abby Kohat, Lori Conway, Grace Wlasowitz, Bobby Johnson, Chana Gitel Bat Chaya Sarah, Bayanko, Moshe Sa'at, Meira Ruth Bat Avraham Basara, and Zachary Couch. If there are others whom you would add to this list, please, as I look your way, would you share that name aloud with us?
Larry Babin.
May the Blessed Holy One be filled with their compassion, filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May they be blessed with enough of what they best need. May God swiftly send them renewal of body and of spirit, and let us join together in saying, labor is a craft, but perfect rest is an art, wrote Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. I have always admired people who are skilled at arts and crafts, but I myself have not been blessed with such skill. It does not, however, mean that I don't try, nor does it mean that I don't find value in the trying. And I was struck by Heschel's use of the words craft and art in referring to weekday toil and Shabbat menucha, or Shabbat rest. So I did a little research. It seems that arts and crafts and the movement originated in Britain during the late 19th century and was characterized by a style of decoration reminiscent of medieval times. The movement placed a high importance on the quality of craftsmanship while emphasizing the importance for the arts to contribute to economic reform. Interesting for us to perhaps consider the relationship between the quality of work and eventual impact of economic reform to our own weekday labor and eventual change. So Heschel continued on to say that this is a result of an accord of the body, mind, and imagination, and that to attain a degree of excellence in art, one must accept its discipline. One must endure slothfulness. The seventh day is a palace in time which we build. It is made of soul, of joy, and reticence. In its atmosphere, its discipline is a reminder of adjacency to eternity. Heschel reminds us that this seemingly elusive, perfect rest takes discipline to achieve. Shabbat was never intended to be a 25-hour nap. We are instead meant to practice how we rest. We are meant to work on it, to build it, and to imagine it like a great piece of art. So how do we, who may be unskilled or lacking in artistic acumen, approach this? And many have posited ways to do so. Jewish law has written extensively on how best to observe Shabbat. There are tomes and tomes and tomes of writings on how to observe Shabbat, most notably the Talmud, with an entire tractate devoted to it. Therein we find the 39 prohibited forms of work on Shabbat. We Reform Jews don't happen to hear those too terribly often, but may know that they exist. And I thought that there was some worth in hearing what our ancient rabbis thought might impede our observing Shabbat. So here is what they detailed, noting what we should refrain from doing each Shabbat and which might help us achieve this perfect rest and deeper connection to God. So as you hear each one, imagine, if you will, what tonight through tomorrow evening would or could be like if you refrained from carrying, burning, extinguishing, finishing, writing, erasing, cooking, washing, sewing, tearing, knotting, untying, shaping, plowing, planting, reaping, harvesting, threshing, winnowing, selecting, sifting, grinding, kneading, combining, spinning, dyeing, chain stitching, warping, weaving, unraveling, building, demolishing, trapping, shearing, slaughtering, skinning, tanning, smoothing, and marking. I will give you that some of those aren't hard to abstain from doing. Shamor v'zachor is how we are instructed regarding Shabbat, to observe and to remember Shabbat. And observing these 39 prohibitions may help us pay closer attention to Shabbat and achieve that perfect rest. But resting in and of itself is not the goal. Heschel said that indeed the splendor of the day is expressed in terms of abstentions, just as the mystery of God is more adequately conveyed through the negative, as in what God is not. And that we often feel how poor the edifice would be were it built exclusively of our rituals and deeds, which are so awkward and often so obtrusive. So Heschel invites us to consider how to express glory and awe in the presence of eternity through the silence of abstaining from noisy acts. Alex Sujung Kimpang wrote on how a digital Sabbath enables us to mend our relationship with the divine, saying, trying to keep up with real time can exact a high price. It creates services to make online life and communication quicker and more frictionless. One-click purchasing texts rather than emails. It disrupts life to make life more seamless. Trying to live at the speed of finance and commerce and communication forces us to focus on the present moment, the present instant, and actually erodes our ability to slow down and think. Minds, organizations, cities, entire societies all need time to integrate and process new ideas. Futurist Anthony Townsend says, if you think you have to constantly, instantly react, rest and contemplation and deliberation, the ability to think about what you're doing disappears. Relentless, constant exposure to real time, he argues, destroys both decision-making and contemplative ability, and this we all know, this we all live and often lament. So Heschel's vision of the Sabbath as an invitation to step into a palace of time that hints of eternity and experience, time set to the clock of creation rather than the speed of light, is more valuable today than ever. In ways that Heschel could not predict, but probably would have appreciated. Today's digital devices and virtual spaces create a terrible, intimate tyranny of things. We labor, as people always have, for the sake of things. But Heschel noted, possessions become the symbols of our repressions, jubilees of frustrations, and things, when magnified, are forgeries of happiness, and they are a threat to our very lives. We unconsciously treat computers like people, and our mobile devices act like toddlers. They're super responsive, simultaneously eager to please and oppressively demanding, always on and insistent that we pay attention to them. So today we live our lives with and through objects that compress our experience of time, that replace the rhythms of days and bodily metabolisms with the 24/7 real time of networks and markets. So Heschel's warning that we are more harassed than supported by the Frankensteins of spatial things, I love that line, seems truer than ever, especially now that those Frankensteins have begun to demand their creator's attention and love. So what the Sabbath offers is a day in which it is acceptable to step away from all of that. For one day a week, it's actually all right to collect rather than to dissipate time, to mend our scattered lives. And this is where digital Sabbatarians, I had never heard that word, digital Sabbatarians are headed. They intuit that behind the language of disconnection lies an opportunity to do something very profound, to mend one's relationship with time. It's a chance to learn, without transgressing those 39 prohibitions, how to collect rather than to dissipate time. An invitation to experience a more majestic, mystical time that lengthens one's capacity for attention and presence, and an opportunity to make meaning, real, true, deep meaning in life. Abraham Heschel saw the Sabbath as a counterbalance against modern technical civilization, a way to work with things of space, but to be in love with eternity. In Heschel's reading of Genesis, the seventh day was when God created happiness and tranquility and perfected the universe. It was not the end of creation, but its culmination. And Heschel argued that we are obliged to recreate that happiness and tranquility. Rest without spirit, he warned, is the source of depravity. The Sabbath isn't a day for mindless leisure or diversion or power naps. For Heschel, Sabbath rest was not passive, it was, in fact, active. In the Sabbath, Heschel was impressively silent about whether any particular activity should or shouldn't be undertaken on Shabbat. And you'd never know that his colleagues argued about whether Jews in the suburbs should be allowed to drive to synagogue, or whether pushing a button on an elevator counted as work, or whether electricity was a form of fire that should not be lit. Avoiding work for Heschel did not mean being inactive. It meant avoiding the kinds of economic, productive busyness that occupied people 6 days of the week in order to create a space in which we could do the other, much more important things, and to do them well. Labor is a craft, he said, but perfect rest is an art. Heschel wasn't advocating passive rest, but restoration. And those who get the most out of the digital Sabbath use it as a time to rebuild themselves, to re-engage with friends, to relearn and exercise treasured pre-digital abilities, and to reconnect with the real world. Turning off the million little requests and interactions that cascade into distraction and exhaustion is good. But trying to recover your mind just by unplugging is like trying to fix a building by abandoning it. The digital Sabbath is defined not only by what you turn off and ignore, but also by what you do with those pauses. Unplugging is the means. Rediscovering a more human sense of time and rebuilding our spirit, those are the ends. So my loving challenge this Shabbat is to focus on arts and crafts in the form of, hold on, no cell phone use. Try it for just this Shabbat. Labor is a craft, but perfect rest is an art, and may your art inspire. Please join me on page 586 as we continue and turn to our concluding prayers, the Aleinu, as we rise. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. During this period of Shloshim, these last 30 days, we are mourning the loss of Milton Friedman, father of Susan Harf, and Jeanette Schneider, mother of Karen Newman. This Shabbat marks a yahrzeit, an anniversary of passing for Reuven Adar, Francis Behrman, Devorah Brody, Barbara Dolan, Rhea Drexler, Beatrice Ettlinger, Sarah Feinstein, Mary Gleason, Gladys Greenberg, Frances Heimberg, Selma Ann Kay, Herbert Kraus, Nancy Kreif, Stephen Magid, Ida Musninsky, Louis J. Pies, Gert Rellin, Alice Levine Rosen, Louis Schildkraut, Esther Schwartz, Marvin Seaman, Ann Schulman, Marshall Spiller, and Wendy Wood. If there are other names that you would add to either list, or names better spoken aloud by you, please, as I look your way, would you share that name with us? Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing as we join together on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayeichon v'yomeichon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kudusha b'richu. Le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel, v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all who are mourning, and to all Israel as we join together in saying, Amen. Amen. And please be seated. We share a few announcements with you this evening. We want to thank Bob Hyman for accompanying our services so beautifully this evening, and to remind you that tomorrow morning we continue our studies of Jeremiah at 9:15, and then we have Shabbat morning services at 10:30, followed by Minyan Maker's Lunch. We have adult education, and we have Hebrew continuing in addition to religious school on Sunday. Next Friday evening, we have Shabbat Shira, a musical service featuring the music of Debbie Friedman, and along with Alex Reeder and Leah Sherman as well. And we hope that you will join us. We want to thank Ellen Goldenberg, who celebrates not only being our greeter this evening, but the anniversary of her bat mitzvah this weekend. And so we are especially honored that your greeting, your celebration of your anniversary of your bat mitzvah, and the anniversary of schmoozing all rolled together in some beautiful combination. We want to offer a mazel tov to Roseanne Marcus on the birth of her grandson, Henry Apollo Quinn, son of Andrew Quinn and Deborah Sorsky, and a mazel tov to Susan and Peter Bondi on the birth of their granddaughter, Hadley Maya Bondi, daughter to Dan and to Leah. I want to remind you about the program this Sunday afternoon, sponsored by the Women's Chavara of the North Stars Player production in honor of Frederick Douglass. It starts at 2 p.m. here at the Temple. Please join us. It is sure to be a wonderful and important afternoon. We want to remind you that the annual Winterfest is February 2nd, and there's still time to RSVP at Webster Park. God gave us some snow, so we are sure to have a good weekend. Please join us for that as well. And also to remind you to be in touch either with the office or Cantor Braun if you would like to participate in Purim, in our Purim choir.
Right. This year we're announcing Purim Night Fever. Purim Night Fever Disco Megillah, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you would like to be in the choir, you all know the music. We will start rehearsing next Sunday from 10 to 11, and we'll have about 5-6 rehearsals for the Purim. So this is a wonderful project, and I hope I have people who will sign up. I already have a bunch of people sign up, and I'm looking for more. I'm looking for Mordechai and King and Haman.
Why are you looking at me? We also want to remind you that if you or you know someone who's in their 40s or 50s, we have our first event on February 9th at 6 p.m. with the Gefilteria, who are coming in from Brooklyn to do some pickling. That's not a metaphor. They're actually going to come in and do pickling with our 40s and 50s, and we're looking forward to that. Any announcements, any joys, any successes, any news? Lauren?
Sure. February, I know a lot of people already know this is Jewish Disability Awareness Month. And Temple Sinai, every Friday night of February, we're celebrating Jewish Disability Awareness Month. And we have some members of our committee here with the Temple Sinai Accessibility and Inclusion Committee. And so February 1st is going to be a night of awareness about visual impairment. So we're having some Paralympic athletes here. We're going to have some activities. So 6 o'clock service and then a 7 o'clock dinner. And then afterwards, we'd love it if people would come and just learn about people with visual impairments. There's going to be a lot of people from our community here, learn about Braille, learn about guide dogs, learn about guide running. And it's going to just be a wonderful night of just awareness. And each Friday night subsequent to that is going to be some different awareness about different disabilities. And if you're interested, please come, please join us, and join our committee if you like.
Thank you. Thank you. Herb.
On February 3rd, there will be a Super Bowl party at the Temple. Buffalo will be in the Super Bowl at this temple. If you don't like football, there will also be a game night going correspondingly. There will be mahjong tables set up, as well as other games. For those who don't want to watch the game, there will be lots of snacks and fun for everybody who comes.
Nice.
Starts at 5:30 here at the Temple.
Right.
Please, Bob.
You've seen me accompanied here. Some of you have seen me play background music in the lobby of the JCC. I used to do community theater, accompany the sort of choral groups. I think for the first time in my life, I have an hour where I'm out front, not accompanying. So those of you who don't know, every Sunday at the Eastman Museum, they host a musicale. They carried on the tradition from when Georgina lived there. And this Sunday, 3 to 4. If you're a member of the museum, it's free. If you're not, it's a little pricey. And I'll be doing Great American Songbook, Jerome Kern, Gershwin, Broadway, whatever.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Please run.
On January 23rd at Temple Brit Kodesh, National Council of Jewish Women is holding a environmental program called Repairing the Planet 2, because we had one last year. We have some very dynamic speakers coming. They're really coming to tell us things that we can do to hopefully reverse climate change. It's $5 per sign up.
Thank you.
JWGRS.
Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay.
I'm thrilled to announce that my cousin Abby Burns, who's the daughter of Sue Stanger and Roy Burns, they had their baby. So yesterday.
Can you tell us a little more or no? What did they have?
They had a girl, and her name is Anna Joy. So we're thrilled.
Beautiful. Mazel tov. Share our mazel tov, please. Please, please, please. Again, kind of like last week, it's hard to top that, right? It's hard to top that. Good, okay. Please, we hope that you will join us afterwards in the Oneg and share some more good news with us. You will eventually want to put a finger on page 625, not yet, 625 for our closing song, Adon Olam, but not quite yet. I would love anybody who has had a hand in creating, serving, preparing, anything except for eating at Shmoozing Shabbat. If you have had a hand in making Shmoozing Shabbat as wonderful and as beautiful as it is, would you please come up and lead us in Motzi? Let's join together with them. Baruch.
Baruch atah Adonai. Amen.
Page 625. Please rise for our closing benediction. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, may we be reminded that labor is a craft, but perfect rest is an art. And may your Shabbat be filled with beautiful art. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
So what do you do with so you save the bulb.
If you want to try, I don't know.
And then could you redo it again next year?
Somebody, one person, try it.
Okay. But if not, what do you look for
I'm doing a workshop in Amherst on Monday, and then I'm doing an online workshop for parents. It's a very good tool. Why are you
It's not a story that
I was student, I set up with online one of my students, and then I go like supervisor, and I visit my own church. I have a couple of students that teach there now, so
superficial person.
and then
To get into it pretty quickly, I bought the soundtrack. I bought it for Abby. She played it a lot. But there's a beautiful love story. It's mature, not mature in the dangerous sense, but mature in that it's
So how long?
What? 24 hours.
They do it?
Feels amazing. That's really
Somebody bless us. Wow.
Well, I don't know. It's related to that. And then he didn't have any, and then he wanted to use his phone because he lost his wallet.
And you too. I'm so gracious about your shirt. I just want to ask you, I'm so excited. Thank you. I already made his name in 6 pounds. So she was about 3.5 weeks early. That's it. Yeah, they drove it. We have 3 days early, but everything's okay. Everybody's totally fine. It's gorgeous. There's better pictures. Yeah, the baby. Adorable. Oh, she's gorgeous. Yeah, she's gorgeous. I didn't realize. I mean, they wanted to. Yeah. She's the first of this, generation. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's crying in those photos. Anyway, so please send them. I'll try to email her too, but it's so excited. Yeah, we are too.
So you're gonna watch the Lions this weekend? They're playing the Bills.
Yeah, I think
It's the losers game.
last time we were supposed to go to that game.
Bills Lions
Yeah,
game.
me, her, Ron, we were gonna go. And I said, you know, I'm kind of glad I didn't. I would have been glad for staff all the week.
It's a question of who's gonna play worse.
Right. Weird.
Well, something a little different there.
Yeah.
Tried it out, see.
I tried it out for a year. I still got mine. Yeah.
So, okay?
All right. How about yourself?
Okay, that's good.
Great. Good to see you. Yeah. Somebody, I hope they don't walk outside.
Take care of yourself.
So good to see you.